Next.
Coming up next, it's a Johnny Bravo Christmas.
Coming up next, it's a Scooby-Doo Christmas.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a Scooby-Doo Halloween special.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Adventure Time.
Next. Later.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Adventure Time. Later, more Adventure Time.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Adventure Time.
Later.
Regular show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Adventure Time with Fiona and Kate.
Later.
A new Adventure Time with Fiona and Kate.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, Almost Naked Animals.
Network, next.
Annoying Orange.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, Ben 10 Alien Force.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
Coming up next, it's Billy and Mandy Save Christmas.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, the Billy and Mandy Wrath of the Spider Queen special.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Chowder. Coming up next, it's Chowder in Hey Hey, It's Knishma.
Next. Later.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Christmas in July.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
codename Kids Next Door.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
up on Cartoon Network.
The exclusive preview of DreamWorks Dragons Riders of Berk.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next. Next.
Next, Dude, What Would Happen?
later.
Destroy, Build, Destroy on Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Next.
Coming up next, it's Ed, Ed, and Eddie in Jingle, Jingle, Jangle. Coming up on Cartoon Network,
The Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends Christmas Special, A Lost... Coming up next, it's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends in A Lost Clause.
coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Garfield.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next. Garfield Gets Real. Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
Generator Rex.
coming up next, it's Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Green Lantern, the Animated Series, a special 1-hour premiere event.
Later.
A new Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Coming up on Cartoon Network,
Next.
coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Johnny Test.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Johnny Test.
Later.
A new Adventure Time.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Johnny Test.
Later.
Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu.
Next. Later.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Looney Tunes.
On Cartoon Network, next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Mad.
Later.
More Mad.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Mad.
Later.
Robotomy.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Mad.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next. Men in Black.
Next, more Annoying Orange. Later, a new man.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
More Annoying Orange.
Coming up next.
More of the bestest best friends.
On Cartoon Network's 20th birthday party.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
More Codename Kids Next Door.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
More Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
More Johnny Test.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
More Johnny Test.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
More New Level Up.
Later.
Adventure Time.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
More Regular Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
More Regular Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
More Regular Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
More Regular Show.
Later.
Cartoon Planet.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
More The Looney Tunes Show.
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Adventure Time.
Later.
A New Man.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Adventure Time. Later.
A new regular show. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A new almost naked animal.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. Next. Later.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Generator Rex.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A new hole in the wall.
Later.
Dude, what would happen?
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Johnny Test.
Later.
A New The Amazing World of Gumball.
On Cartoon Network.
A new man. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Mad.
Later. A new regular show. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Mad.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. A new Pokemon Black and White Rival Destinies. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Regular Show. Later.
A new Mad. A new regular show. Later. A new secret mountain fortified.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Regular Show.
Later.
Regular Show.
Up next on Cartoon Network, a new regular show. Later, the series premiere of Annoying Orange. Hey, that's me!
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Scan to Go.
A new secret mountain fortified.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The new series Teen Titans Go.
Later.
A New The Looney Tunes Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A new sidekick.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New The Amazing World of Gumball.
Later.
Adventure Time.
A new Amazing World of Gumball. Later. A new regular show.
On Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A New Thundercats.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Regular Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Regular Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Regular Show Halloween Special.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Regular Show.
Later.
Mad.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Regular show.
Later.
A new annoying orange.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Robotomy.
Later.
The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. Scooby-Doo and the Samurai Sword. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next. Scooby-Doo, the mystery begins. Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The season premiere of Pokemon Black and White Adventures in Unova.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Secret Mountain Fort Awesome.
Hey, up next on Cartoon Network, the series premiere of Annoying Orange. Later, a new man. Orange, you excited?
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A sneak peek of Annoying Orange.
Later.
A new man.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
A sneak episode of Ben 10 Omniverse.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Next. Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Later.
Thundercat.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Teen Titans.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Amazing World of Gumball. Coming up next, it's The Garfield Show in Carolyn Capers.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Looney Tunes Show.
Later.
More The Looney Tunes Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Looney Tunes Show.
Later.
The Amazing World of Gumball.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Looney Tunes Show.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Later.
Johnny Test.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Tom and Jerry, A Nutcracker Tale.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Tom and Jerry meet Sherlock Holmes.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Next. Tom and Jerry.
Coming up on Cartoon Network.
Next.
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Total Drama World Tour.
Next. Later.
On Cartoon Network.
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 Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
What's new, Scooby-Doo?
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next.
Young Justice.